prepare to be amazed by what unfolded when a professor, in a mocking jest, challenged an unassuming woman to tackle a calculus problem. You won't believe the astonishing events that transpired in this university lecture hall, leaving everyone stunned. This tale will reshape your perspective on human potential forever. Under the soft buzz of fluorescent lights, Jennifer Martinez guided her cleaning cart along the gleaming corridors of the mathematics department. At 35, she had spent 5 years as a custodian at this esteemed institution, knowing its halls more intimately than most faculty knew their own workspaces. Yet Jennifer was no ordinary janitor. While others overlooked her as just another worker emptying bins and scrubbing floors, she harbored a hidden talent that would astonish those who barely noticed her. Each night, as she tidied the lecture rooms, Jennifer would linger by the chalkboards adorned with intricate mathematical equations. Her gaze followed the complex calculus problems, her mind effortlessly unraveling solutions that had baffled graduate students earlier that day. She had taught herself the language of mathematics from discarded textbooks salvaged from the library's donation bins, studying during her breaks in a basement storage closet. But this evening was unlike any other. As Jennifer neared Dr. Richard Mitchell's advanced calculus classroom, raised voices echoed through the slightly ajar door. Dr. Mitchell, a man in his 50s with silver hair and wire-framed glasses, was renowned across the campus for his intellectual brilliance and equally sharp arrogance. "This is utterly deplorable, Dr." Mitchell's voice rang out down the hall. "Your graduate students, for heaven's sake. This problem should be effortless for you." Jennifer paused by the door, her fingers tightening around her mop handle. Through the glass panel, she saw the professor's exasperated gestures, his blue shirt and gray sweater epitomizing the classic academic look. Behind him, the chalkboard was filled with what she instantly recognized as a particularly daunting calculus problem. The roughly 20 students in the room sat in uneasy silence, their faces a mix of shame and bewilderment. Jennifer felt a pang of sympathy for them. She could pinpoint exactly where their approach had faltered. A common error, really. Mitchell turned to the board, his tone laced with scorn. "Perhaps we should revisit elementary math. Maybe counting with our hands would suit this class better." Jennifer knew she should move on, push her cart past the room, and act as if she hadn't heard a thing. That's what she'd always done, remained unseen, unnoticed, insignificant. But the defeated looks on the students' faces stopped her. She thought of the countless nights spent in the storage room, poring over problems that captivated her, imagining what it would be like to be a student in one of these rooms. Jennifer had grown up in a working-class family where college was an unattainable dream. When her father fell ill during her final year of high school, she took a job instead of pursuing the scholarship she'd earned. Mathematics was her sanctuary, her passion, but it remained a private world she explored alone. As Dr. Mitchell's tirade persisted, Jennifer made a choice that would alter everything. For the first time in 5 years, she was ready to step out of the shadows. "Dr." Mitchell's voice grew sharper with each passing moment. "In over 2 decades of teaching calculus, I've never seen such a lack of mathematical instinct." He slammed his chalk onto the tray, sending a puff of white dust into the air. Jennifer quietly entered the room, positioning herself near the back wall where she typically began cleaning. She started her routine, emptying trash cans, wiping desks, but her eyes kept drifting to the complex equation on the board. The advanced calculus problem demanded multiple sophisticated methods, requiring both theoretical insight and practical skill. Jennifer could see precisely where the students had stumbled. They'd started correctly but faltered on the more intricate parts. Suddenly, Dr. Mitchell spun around, his gaze sweeping the room before settling on Jennifer. "Perhaps we need a new viewpoint," he said, his voice tinged with mockery, causing several students to shift uncomfortably. Jennifer's hand stilled on her cleaning rag. She looked up to find the professor staring at her, his face a mix of irritation and cruel amusement. "You," he said, pointing at her. "You've been watching us wrestle with this problem. Since you're so intrigued by our mathematical debates, why don't you step up and take a crack at it?" The room fell silent. 20 pairs of eyes turned to Jennifer, their expressions ranging from curiosity to sympathy. Some students exchanged uneasy glances, clearly troubled by their professor's inappropriate behavior. I should probably just keep working, sir," Jennifer murmured, her voice barely audible. "Nonsense," Dr. Mitchell boomed. "We're all about equal opportunity learning here, aren't we?" His words dripped with sarcasm. "Come on, don't be timid. Show us what you can do." Jennifer's cheeks flushed with embarrassment. She felt the weight of every stare, the discomfort radiating from students who saw their professor's cruelty. Part of her wanted to bolt, to grab her cart and retreat to her invisible world. But another part, the one that had spent years studying in secret, solving problems, and dreaming, ignited with a defiance she hadn't felt in years. "What exactly do you want me to do?" she asked, her voice gaining strength. Dr. Mitchell gestured grandly to the chalkboard. "Solve that equation. Show these graduate students how it's done." He crossed his arms, a smug grin on his face. "After all, you've been observing our methods for—" He paused. "How long have you worked here?" 5 years, Jennifer replied, setting down her cleaning supplies. 5 years? Dr. Mitchell echoed mockingly. "Surely that's enough time to absorb some mathematical knowledge, right?" His tone was unmistakably cruel now. He wasn't offering her a chance. He was setting her up to be humiliated, using her to shame his students. Jennifer walked slowly to the front of the room. She thought of her father, who always said dignity was something you chose to hold on to, not something others could strip away. As she picked up the chalk, she decided she was done being invisible. Her fingers trembled slightly as she held the chalk. The room was so quiet she could hear the hum of the air conditioner and faint traffic outside. 20 graduate students watched, a mix of anticipation and secondhand embarrassment on their faces, while Dr. Mitchell stood with arms crossed, expecting a predictable failure. Jennifer examined the complex problem on the board. It involved advanced calculus concepts that had clearly stumped the students. She took a deep breath and began. "First, we need to determine the type of problem we're facing," she said softly, her voice growing steadier. "This is a composite function requiring careful use of advanced differentiation techniques." Mitchell's smirk wavered. This wasn't what he expected from a janitor. Jennifer continued, her movements precise and deliberate. "The key is to recognize the nested structure and apply the right methods systematically." She worked through each step with clarity, explaining her logic as she went. Her approach was not only correct but elegant, revealing a deep grasp of mathematical principles that impressed everyone watching. Several students leaned forward, captivated. Jennifer's explanations were clearer than many they'd heard from professors, and she was already further than any of them had gotten. "Now we address this trickier part," she continued, her confidence growing. "The secret is spotting the pattern and applying the correct transformation." She navigated the complex calculations with fluid precision, her expertise evident in every chalk stroke. The solution flowed effortlessly from her mind to the board. Dr. Mitchell's expression shifted from smugness to confusion. He stepped closer, scrutinizing her work with growing disbelief. Every step was flawless, showcasing a sophisticated understanding. "The final step is to simplify using core mathematical relationships," Jennifer said, finishing with a flourish that displayed both skill and elegance. She set down the chalk and stepped back, her heart racing. The room remained silent for what seemed like forever. That's completely correct. A student in the front row whispered, awe in her voice. Dr. Mitchell stared at the board, his jaw slightly agape. How did you? He started, then stopped, struggling to comprehend what he'd just seen. Jennifer turned to the class, her plain shirt and jeans somehow less ordinary now. The trick is seeing the underlying patterns, she said softly. Mathematics is like a language. Once you learn its rules, complex problems become solvable. A student named Marcus raised his hand hesitantly. But how did you know which method to use first? Jennifer smiled, her first genuine smile in that room. Practice with similar problems. I've worked through countless calculations like this, just not in a classroom. Dr. Mitchell regained his voice, though it sounded strained. Where did you learn advanced calculus? Jennifer's smile softened. Books, she said simply. Discarded textbooks. I've been studying math for years. Her words challenged their assumptions about intelligence and education. That must have been a fluke, Dr. Mitchell said weakly. Beginner's luck, perhaps. Jennifer met his gaze steadily. Would you like me to try another? Dr. Mitchell's face reddened, torn between embarrassment and pride. He couldn't accept what had happened. It upended his beliefs about intelligence and status. Anyone can solve one problem, he said defensively. Let's see you tackle something truly difficult. He moved to a fresh section of the board and wrote a new, far more complex problem, advanced multivariable calculus, material that typically took graduate students months to master. Solve this, he said, stepping back with renewed confidence. This is from our most advanced course. Jennifer studied the problem, her mind recognizing its intricate structure. She'd tackled similar challenges in the advanced textbooks she'd found, problems that had taken her weeks to master. This requires combining several sophisticated techniques. She began, her voice calm and assured. We need to break it down methodically. She started solving, dissecting the complex problem into manageable parts. Her approach was elegant and systematic, demonstrating not just computational skill, but deep conceptual insight that captivated the room. The students watched, fascinated, as she navigated calculations that had stumped them in their toughest courses. Her explanations were clear, often highlighting shortcuts and connections their professors hadn't emphasized. The key here, Jennifer said as she tackled a challenging section, is seeing how these mathematical concepts interlink. They're not separate tools. They form a cohesive system. Dr. Mitchell stood frozen, checking her work as she progressed. Each step was correct, reflecting a level of mathematical maturity that typically required years of formal study. When she finished, the silence was profound. Dr. Mitchell stared at the board, his earlier confidence gone. The solution was brilliant. That's incredible, said Sarah, a graduate student. You made it look almost simple. How long did it take you to learn this level of math? Another student asked, curiosity replacing earlier discomfort. Jennifer faced the class, seeing them as peers grappling with complex ideas. I work nights, she said with quiet dignity. After cleaning, I have a few hours before my morning job. I've used that time to study. She paused, her voice softening. Math has always been my escape. When my father was dying, when bills piled up, when life felt overwhelming, numbers were logical. Problems had solutions. There was always an answer, if you worked hard enough. Dr. Mitchell's expression had transformed, his arrogance replaced by something like remorse. You have 2 jobs? 3, actually? Jennifer replied matter-of-factly. I clean offices in the morning, work here at night, and do data entry on weekends. That's how I buy books. The weight of her words settled over the room. Here was someone working 3 jobs to survive, yet mastering math that challenged students with every privilege. Marcus shook his head in awe. I complain about one chapter a week. The room's atmosphere shifted. Academic hierarchies dissolved, replaced by respect for her extraordinary determination. Jennifer stood quietly, absorbing the moment. The students sensed they were witnessing something historic. The rigid academic hierarchy was unraveling before them. For 5 years, I've been invisible in these halls, Jennifer said, her voice gaining strength. I've heard people speak of intelligence as if it's exclusive to those with degrees, wealth, or opportunity. Dr. Mitchell stayed silent, his earlier arrogance replaced by genuine attention and growing remorse. But intelligence doesn't care about your bank balance. Jennifer continued. It doesn't care if you wear a uniform or eat lunch in a storage closet instead of a faculty lounge. Curiosity is universal. It just needs nurturing. A student named Emily raised her hand shyly. Jennifer, with your talent, why haven't you enrolled here? Jennifer's laugh held irony, not bitterness. With what funds? With what time? When you're working 3 jobs to survive, college feels like an impossible dream. Her reality hit the privileged students hard. Brilliance often went unseen simply because it lacked a platform. Dr. Mitchell stepped forward, his voice firm with newfound conviction. Jennifer, what if there were a way? A way to what? To join the program officially. His words came quickly. Your mathematical talent is remarkable. What you've shown tonight. I've seen doctoral candidates struggle with less. Jennifer shook her head, though her heart raced. Mitchell, I appreciate it, but I don't want pity. This isn't pity, he insisted. This is acknowledgement of exceptional talent. There are scholarships, work-study programs, opportunities for those with unique potential, regardless of background. Marcus leaned forward. He's right, Jennifer. My sister got a full scholarship based solely on aptitude tests, no prior college required. For the first time that night, Jennifer looked unsure. The dream she'd buried under years of necessity was resurfacing, and it scared her. You don't understand, she said softly. I didn't grow up expecting college. I don't know how to navigate academic systems or write research papers. None of us did at first, Sarah said gently. That's what we're here to learn. The hard part, real mathematical thinking, you've already conquered. Dar. Mitchell handed her a business card. There's a special admissions process for unique cases. Placement tests, interviews, evaluations of potential, not just credentials. He offered the card with unsteady hands. I'm not asking for a decision now. Just consider it. You belong here as much as anyone. Jennifer stared at the card, as if it might vanish. What if I fail? What if this was just a fluke? Then we'll figure it out together. Dr. Mitchell said simply. But I suspect you've been succeeding on your own for a long time. Jennifer took the card, her fingers trembling, feeling a shift within her. A door unlocking after 15 years. 6 months later, Jennifer stood at the front of her own classroom, addressing 20 eager undergraduates. She wore a simple blue blouse and dark pants, professional yet approachable, mirroring her teaching style. The chalkboard behind her was filled with mathematical concepts, not as barriers, but as gateways to exploration. Math isn't about being the smartest in the room, she told her students, her voice rich with hard, earned wisdom. It's about being curious enough to question and persistent enough to seek answers, even when the path is unclear. The placement tests had been tough, but Jennifer had excelled, earning a full scholarship and a tutoring position that paid better than her 3 previous jobs combined. Dr. Wells, the admissions head, had been astounded by her 99th percentile scores. In the back row, Jennifer noticed a young woman who reminded her of herself. Quiet, attentive, yet apart from the others. After class, she approached her gently. Lisa, right? Jennifer said with a warm smile. I've noticed you grasp the concepts well, but but you don't speak up much in discussions. Lisa stared at her worn shoes. I'm not really supposed to be here. I'm just auditing. I work in the cafeteria, but... She trailed off, embarrassed. Jennifer recognized the struggle instantly. But you love math. Lisa nodded, her eyes brightening. Numbers make sense to me in a way nothing else does. They're fair, predictable. Would you like to stay after class sometime? We could tackle some extra problems together. Lisa's gratitude was palpable. You'd do that, even though I'm not a real student. Anyone who wants to learn is a real student, Jennifer said, echoing Dr. Mitchell's transformed words. Curiosity doesn't need a tuition fee. That evening, Jennifer sat in her modest but cozy apartment, grading papers and preparing lectures. Her life had transformed, but the deepest change was how she saw herself and her place in the world. She'd learned that worth wasn't earned through degrees or accolades. It was something you recognized within yourself and dared to show others. Dr. Mitchell had become a friend and colleague, often seeking her advice on teaching challenges. The students from that pivotal night visited her office hours, not just for math help, but for guidance from someone who understood perseverance. Inspired by Jennifer's story, the university launched a program for non-traditional students. Several staff members had begun taking classes, uncovering talents they never knew they had. As Jennifer prepared for bed, she glanced at her framed bachelor's degree in mathematics, earned with highest honors, and a photo from that transformative night. A student had captured her at the chalkboard, surrounded by peers who saw her brilliance. She'd finally learned to see herself as they did, worthy, capable, brilliant. Jennifer's journey shows that genius isn't limited to elite institutions or costly degrees. It thrives in unexpected places, waiting for someone courageous enough to step forward. Have you ever misjudged someone based on their job or appearance? Share your thoughts below. If this story moved you, subscribe for more inspiring stories of human potential. Click the notification bell to stay updated on tales that challenge how we view the world and each other. Where are you joining us from today? Let us know your location in the comments. We love connecting with people worldwide who believe in the power of human potential.